Welcome to the next episode in the CaraCruiser series. This is the final catch-up episode. After this we'll be almost live as we move forward with the project, and things are taking on a new level of... Actually, I'll save that for later. So the wheels had a fair amount of camber, but what really drew my attention to it was when one of them actually made contact with the arch round a corner. I heard it squeal, and on inspection back home I was greeted with this. It had gone through the gel coat and some of the glass, so I made a small repair on it and filled it with filled a bit of a low underneath, or a high spot depending on how you look at it. White gel coat was all I had to hand. Sorry. I ordered some replacement suspension from Indispension, which I wasn't overly impressed with, as it came with two broken bearing covers and rust already emerging, so I sent them back, and after a long wait received the same ones back with a bit of silver paint on and a small discount. I wanted just to get it in the water, so I fitted it. Here's before and after, and I fitted a Bulldog anti-sway bar, as the extra engine weight out back made the whole thing fishtail. I also got some wider wheels with better tyres that had a higher load capacity and speed rating and less rolling resistance. Something else that needed attention was the steering. The steering cable mechanism broke off at the wheel during an outing, so I bought a power steering kit. The problem I needed to overcome was clearance, so I cut a channel across the back of the deck, welded in some plates and then fiberglassed over them, and made some pockets either side, which gave enough space for the assembly to move backwards and forwards. Again, white gel coat, as that's all I had. Replaced the anti-slip tape, and it's mostly acceptable to look at. The next thing I tried in my efforts to increase speed was I fitted these trim tabs. They definitely level the boat once moving, but I'm not sure if they add much else. The idea is that they compress under load once the boat is on plane, but we haven't managed that. Then I addressed the drag produced by the wheel arches. This had been brought up a lot. I couldn't fill them in because I need the space for the wheels, but with some help from my friend Glenn, I had some spats made up at a local company called Keydeck. I used expanding foam to fill it in and then cut out the rough shape. I'd stuck a load of cling film in there to aid with the release. And then from that, I made a fiberboard template, and this is what I gave to Keydeck to copy in aluminium. The hinges help pivot the spats into the arch, and then the clamps hold them on really solidly. Speedboats and V-shaped hulls often have strakes along them, so I attempted to kind of replicate that by cutting some 20mm high molecular weight polyethylene. This is quite slippery, but also very hard wearing. The front was shaped using heat, and then it was bonded and screwed. Lastly, a hydrofoil. I did a fair bit of research, and this was the one that I chose. It's sold as the fix everything solution. I thought it might at least have some positive input. You might also notice a shiny new prop here. I fitted the finest pitch 4-fin prop to try and get it out the hole, get the revs up in the power band. Oh, and I fitted a towing pole for inflatables, because why not? It's removable. Here's the wake, before and after all the hull mods. It's night and day, and the after picture is much more recognisable and typical shape of wake. Some people might even say that's the wake of a boat on plane, but it's not enough to be able to get back off the gas, and staying wide open throttle's pretty hefty on the fuel consumption. Anyway, here's a couple of shots from cruising on the Broads, followed by plenty of mucking about. So close to getting on plane and picking up some decent speed.
Very good.
Cannonball!
Here are some more daring trials just outside Chichester Harbour.
Okay, ready for a loop.
These outings culminated in a trip across the Solent to the Isle of Wight. We stopped in Bembridge Marina for an hour and then came back. I wasn't planning to, but we could see the Isle of Wight and we just kept on going towards it, and then got there and came back, just on the amount of fuel that I had. This photo was taken from a friend's boat on our return, and then in early January 2023, another trip to the Isle of Wight, cruising along at a fairly decent speed with 4 of us on board. In hindsight, this was pretty brave and pretty close to the limit of what the boat will or was capable of. We ran aground slightly at Ryde and then headed back to Itchner. During May, we took the cruiser to a meet just outside Paris, on the ferry. By this time, the suspension had seen plenty of action, and on the way home from a morning trip to Chichester Harbour, disaster struck. The left side hub let go, and the flange left the bearing case, taking the wheel with it. Yup, it's still on the trailer, just without a wheel. The trailer and the hull dragged to a stop from about 50 miles an hour. An expensive recovery later, and it transpires the other side wasn't far from the same problem. Cracks were propagating from the studs. Outside of the warranty, Indispension wanted nothing to do with replacing or even offering discounted parts, so I had to purchase replacements at full cost. And they missed out half the bearing races. Anyway, I digress. With help from Jack again, we made this frame to suspend the cruiser on in preparation from the hull repair. There wasn't that much external damage, but internally there is some considerable cracking. I don't know if that was solely from the impact of the incident or the impact of crashing over so many waves or road damage. Anyway, I saw this as an opportunity to really improve the hull. New gel coat, repaired and reinforced structure, and a general spruce up. However, this has escalated considerably. To be continued.